Hello, my name is Felipe Sanchez from Trau Nutrition Innovation Department. My position in Trau Nutrition Department is as a poultry innovation application specialist. Yes, the purpose of today's presentation is to talk about the split feeding for broiler breeders. Split feeding is a very innovative precision feeding system for broiler breeders that brings important benefits for chick producers, benefits in terms of the performance, welfare, reduction of the feed costs, and support the sustainability. Split feeding is a concept developed by Trau Nutrition. First was developed for layer table eggs and commercialized since 2010, and later on, after the excellent and good results obtained in the market, the decision of the company was to move to develop the same concept for broiler breeders. Firstly, let's start by defining what is the split feeding. Split feeding broiler breeders is a precision feeding system which provides a more accuracy of nutrient supply to meet with the requirements of the breeder's hens during the egg formation process. Okay. Split feeding consists of feeding hens with two different diets every day to meet with the requirements for egg formation. Morning diets are formulated to support the early phase of egg formation and egg production. Okay? And afternoon diets are formulated to bring the nutrients composition to support the egg cell formation. The key benefit the split feeding provides is brings broiler breeders closer to their voluntary feeding behavior, and at the same time, this more efficient feeding program produce more profitable and sustainable chick at a lower production costs and improve the hens' welfare. No? The split feeding broiler breeders concept is based on three different concepts. The first is the different formation the phase of the eggs throughout the day. In a specific moment of the day are produced specific components of the eggs. During the morning is the oviposition, later on is ovulation, and the formation of the whites. And during the afternoon and evening is producing the egg cell. The hen's lay is around 90% the eggs during the morning, and the interval between two oviposition is around 25 hours, as you know. In a specific moment of the day are produced specific components of the eggs. Also, laying hens show a different pattern of the feed consumption, as you can see here in this chart, okay, where the x-axis show the time of the day and y-axis show the amount of the feed consumption. Okay, laying hens eat greater amount of the feed during the afternoon than in the morning. This is due to a higher appetizer by the consumption of the calcium carbonate. Laying hens eat higher in the afternoon to store greater amount of the calcium to be used during the evening to produce the egg cell formation. The third parameter or technical issue to support the concept is the laying hens are able to select the nutrients according the moment of the day. Okay, laying hens adapt their nutrient intake dependent on the time of the day. This means depends on the egg formation phase. As you can see here in this chart, was compared to different feeding systems. In blue lines is the single feed, the regular approach, one unique feed, and the green line is a choice feeding. This means laying hens were able to select the ingredient composition according the nutrient or the different nutrient composition. For the main category of the nutrients, energy, protein, calcium, okay, this was the different pattern of the the nutrient consumption. In the x-axis are the time of the day, in the y-axis are the amount of the nutrients. With one choice feeding, layers able to adapt the nutrient consumption throughout the day. Higher amount the energy and crude protein and amino acids are intake during the morning and lower in the afternoon. At the same time, in opposite address, okay, the calcium intake is lower in the morning and greater in the afternoon, coincident with the egg cell formation. With the choice feeding, okay, laying hens show they are able to adapt the nutrient composition, the nutrient consumption according the different moment of the day, according coincident with the different egg formation phase. The system provide a higher accuracy of the nutrients, okay, but at the same time, laying hens, okay, intake less nutrient consumption. With a choice feeding, laying hens were able to reduce around 8% less energy intake, 11% less crude protein amino acid intake, and 26% less calcium intake. Okay, this study is not new. Was done in 1972 by Chad. Okay. Based on the experience of the split feeding in layer table eggs, okay, the company Traum Nutrition decided one R&D program to be developed since 2015. Okay. The validation program and R&D program was set in two different phases. The first phase of the validation and development was in Traum Nutrition R&D facilities, started in 2015, and the second phase was in commercial farms, in SADA broiler meat producer company, a Nutreco company, since 2015 to 2017. The first experiment started in 2014. We test in 2,560 hens, okay, Roche genetic, was split 2 treatments, 10 replicates by treatment, 10 with the split feeding program, 10 with the control. No? The period of the study was since the week 53 to week 63, when the breeder were available. No? The duration of the length of the study was around 10 weeks. The feed design for the split feeding broiler breeders provide around 1% less energy than the control diet, around 2% less crude protein and amino acids, 2% less calcium, and 11% less digestible phosphorus than the control diet. The results regarding the performance were with the split feeding diet versus the control, we obtained plus 2 hatch eggs in comparison with the control and plus 2.5 chick in comparison with the control. And regarding the financials, with the split feeding program, we obtained one reduction of the feed cost around €6 per metric ton. You can see here, more clear, the results of the performance throughout the time. In the x-axis, this graph show the time, the length every week, and in the y-axis is the amount of the percentage of egg production in the first graph, the egg weight in the second graph, and percentage of the chick hatch. No? With the split feeding, we obtain plus 2% more egg production and plus 1.5 chick per hen house, as before mentioned. But in terms of the financial, okay, in the economic, the reduction of the feed cost per chick produced with the split feeding was minus 10%, as before mentioned. Based on these results, okay, we also test the effect of the split feeding regarding the welfare. No? As you can see here in this graph, was assessed the hunger feelings and the behavior of the hens. No? With the split feeding system in comparison with the control, laying hens, okay, breeders eat longer time, okay, around 389 minutes in comparison with the control, 240 minutes. But at the same time, the speed of eating was slowly. Okay, laying hens use around 2 minutes per gram of feed in comparison with the control. The control eat faster, no? Because they use 1.5 minutes per gram of feed. Okay. This pattern shows the hens feed with the split feeding, eat slowly, and this means they have less hunger feelings. But at the same time, regarding of the behavior, okay, according the system As you can see here in this graph, okay, in the y-axis, in the left side, is the amount, okay, of the hens eating in each moment of the day. In the y-axis, in the right side, is the percentage of the hens picking. In the x-axis is the moment of the day. As you can see here, as pass the day and reduce the number of the hens eating, increase the percentage of the hens picking. But this parameter, this percentage of the hens picking are greater, higher with the single or with the control diet in comparison with the split feeding diet. Okay? This is during the morning, but in the afternoon, okay, the parameter of the situation changed dramatically because with the control still higher during the afternoon, but with the split feeding diet, this performance, this behavior indicator go down because it supply the second diet in the afternoon, as you can see here in this graph. Okay. Breeders feed with the split feeding diets show different pattern for feed intake with results in a reduced number of the pecks to other birds compared to the control. Okay. This means with the split feeding support, okay, the welfare and performance and the financial according the outcomes obtained in our R&D center. This brings us at the end of the presentation where we could summarize the key benefits of the split feeding broiler breeders. Okay, when we provide the split feeding broiler breeders, we could obtain improve in egg cell quality, statistically differences in cell weight and very good and positive correlation regarding the social values. We improve the sustainability because in our analysis of the performance regarding the sustainability impact of the split feeding broiler breeders, we reduce the excretion of the nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus by feces because we provide less nutrients in the diet with the split feeding. We reduce 10% the carbon dioxide emissions. We reduce the nutrient request to feed broiler breeders. For this reason, split feeding is a much better sustainable feeding program. We also obtain positive on welfare because we reduce the hunger feelings, we reduce the pecking activities, at the same time we improve the feathering covers in relation with these less pecking activities. And regarding the financials, we obtain around 7-10% chick hatch feed cost reduction in relation with our reduction of the feed cost around €6 per metric ton of compound feed with the split feeding diets in comparison with the control diets. This all help to improve the gross margin per hens around 3-9%. It depends on the situation of the market or the raw material market. No? In terms of the performance, not statistically, but many trials show numerical improvements in terms of the improve the number of the chick produced per hen house in hens feed with split feeding around plus 1.5 chick per hen house. That's all in my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention, and you feel free to contact us if you would like to understand, to know, to get more information regarding split feeding broiler breeders program.